Let's see, what's the time? Hello, folks. Just put that as a placeholder. Sometimes you have an error. You know it's an error, but you still put it in there because it's faster than looking up the actual time. Let's see. 3 Jade trucks loaded with troops appeared on the street outside the butcher shop. The butcher shop sat in the middle of the street, not on a corner, not on an intersection. I should check and see if I did have it set in an intersection. Let's see. 2 trucks. 2 trucks came from the right side of the street, right of the building, the third other to the left. Troops piled up. Jade troops, well equipped with full body armor and armor mass, appeared, stormed out the backs of the truck, and spread out through the street before the shop. They took cover in alleys, windows, at vehicles, and at vehicles. A few bolder or Jade, including several officers, junior officers. I think that corresponds to lieutenants. I'll have to check though. Junior officer would definitely be lower ranked. You wouldn't call a colonel a junior officer, except maybe junior as in the sense that he's not a general. Let's see, including several junior officers, stood right in the open, though they still had weapons ready. One officer who could speak English addresses the occupants of the butcher shop via a blowhorn. What, that's not the right word? Blowhard? Alright. This is the Jade Army, the officer proclaimed in a strong and youthful voice, with an English accented quality that seemed odd to the listeners. Both Jade and Liverpoolian, yep. Come out with your hands up. Nobody came out, and no shots were exchanged between the men, Jade, or the guerrillas in the building, spread through the building. There were guerrillas in many of the windows of the ground floor, and the extra locks went on every door of the ground floor, plus barricades. Nobody had tried to make a run from the interior. There was no way out. They could have, unless they could turn invisible, there was no way out of the building. No secret escape tunnel underneath via the sewer. No alley. And the surrounding buildings. I probably use the escape tunnel underneath the building a little too often. Maybe it's a plot hole. I mean, if you can just escape underground, why even fight, right? Why even put up a fight? You could just, unless you're just stalling them. Yeah, when you're a writer, you have to find your own plot holes, usually. Because usually it seems like by the time anyone finds them, it's because it's already been damn published. And, well, yeah. I don't want to spend the rest of my life editing one story into perfection. Though maybe that's a good way to go about it. I don't know. The old, our friend Tolkien, who wrote The Lord of the Rings, spent his whole career editing that story. Well, it was more than a story. There was a whole history, different languages he came up with, all kinds of stuff. I keep thinking I want to come up with some more fictional languages in my stories. Like, I came up with one for the Jade, but I rarely use it. And the surrounding buildings had no windows facing the butcher's shop. So the occupants couldn't make a bridge with a plank of wood and go into the other buildings. They were all occupied by the Jade at the moment anyway. So a fight through them would have been fruitless. They would have been in the same spot as before. Spat. An alternate spelling of spot. All fiction. I don't think I need to come up with alternate words for some of these things, like wood, plank, butcher. I came up with some... I replace a word with a fictional stand-in F. The word if I like the word. Like I came up with a name for medic that was based on the word for the Greek goddess of healing. And I thought that was clever. But we writers, we all think we're so clever. We all think we're all great. We all think we're great thinkers, but we're not. We're just normal people. Even the very successful writers are normal people. Let's see. It will be in the same spot as before, but with a few more dead Jade and likely a few more dead comrades. Let's see. Let's see. Marty and his men still had access to their radio, their room, and reported in. Marty also saw that the Jade were seemingly oblivious to the traps. Oblivious to the traps. To the traps out in the street. The various explosives that had been set up in that old car that had been sitting on that street for the last 2.5 years. Marty's engineers, explosive experts, had finally given that old rust bucker, a purpose in life. Marty wished that he had spent a bit extra poured into HQ or their situation. I feel like I'm missing something. See now, shots for exchange. Oh, that's right. Wish he had spent a bit extra on explosives and blew up and rigged the adjacent buildings to blow. Then he could have taken out He could have taken out a few. Those ogres in Lord of the Rings are very cool. Buildings worth of Jade as his last hurrah. Marty didn't think the explosives... Did everyone know about the bombs? No. Didn't think the explosives in the street were going to be enough to set them free. Marty had everyone getting the heavy defenses ready for when he primed the bombs and shook up the Jade outside, giving them the option to set up their MGs. Well, it's summertime almost, folks, so I think maybe I should get one of my favorite summertime readings, an Alistair MacLean novel. None in particular, but I still have plenty to read. He's the guy who wrote Where Eagles Dare, The Guns of Navarone. Those are fine books. What was that stupid little ding I just heard on my computer? I wish it would just let me use the computer the way I want to, but no, you gotta keep playing these weird updates and stuff. I lost my old screensaver too because of this damn updating. Well, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I didn't notice any change, anything. Let's see, set their MGs in the windows and go wild. The explosives were key. It was clear that they had been betrayed by somebody. But that somebody didn't know about the explosives. That narrowed the list down considerably. Was the mole dumb enough to trap himself here with the rest of the group? Marty was pretty sure most guerrillas, most traitors were smart enough to get out of the line of fire before bad stuff happened. It looked like Marty would have the chance to both unmask the traitor and dispatch them. A rare thing for those fortunate enough to be betrayed in war. The officer continued trying to coach. What's a T in coach? I don't know. Coach Marty and his men into a bloodless surrender. From his already weary tone, it seemed to Mart that the man thought he was wasting his breath. Times have changed, the officer said. Officer noted. The Jade Army has come to respect its guerrilla, partisan, and militia enemies, viewing them as worthy opponents, as people who have fought to survive in the new world of the Jade Empire. People who should have the chance to thrive. People who can be granted amnesty after a period of hard labor. Bullshit, Marty muttered quietly and lowly. The Jade didn't believe in rehabilitation through labor. They believed in extermination through labor. What a lovely term that is, huh, folks? Sometimes I wish that we lived in a world where there were orcs and goblins and stuff, and they were the ones who did all the terrible things in history, not humans doing it to other humans, you know? I think that's why fantasy is appealing to people, because in fantasy, humans look a lot better than they did in our real life, so, you know. Of course, you know, we all know the real story, like that. All the bad stuff people have done, and it was all to each other, so what the hell, right? No orcs or goblins to blame. They believe in extermination through labor. Not sure why extermination through labor made me think of goblins. I guess maybe because it's a concept I wish goblins had thought up instead of humans. They showed no mercy to anyone who resists. Marty knew if he and his men surrendered, they'd end up dead anyway. They'd, and the Jade wouldn't lose a man for their in reply. Marty wondered how often this trick worked. Were there gorillas who, when cornered like this, just gave up on the spot? Threw themselves at the mercy of the Jade Empire? The non-existent. Yeah, folks. That's why the Nazis were defeated, because they were totally pitiless. You can't rule the world exclusively through fear of death, because people will have nothing to lose then. They'll revolt. There'll always be people who will revolt anyway, you know? People who have that suicide gene where, you know, they're just like anarchists in spirit, I guess. I think there is an anarchy gene in some people. Yeah, that line from the Batman, like, there's always people who want to see the world burn. That's quite true. Of course, most people would just prefer to keep their heads down and not get in trouble, not risk their lives for anybody, not stick their neck out. Yeah, I talk like this kind of stuff. It's kind of like stuff from the 40s, like movies. Like, I'm not gonna stick my neck out for no dame. Yeah, 9 times out of 10, the guy who says that in the movie ends up sticking his neck out for the dame, and often ends up getting killed, or in prison, or something else bad happening to him. So, you know, that's like a red flag when you hear it in a movie. He says, I'm not gonna do this, I'm not gonna do this. He'll do it. Everything he says will turn out to be opposite. Like the dialogue is like opposite day or something, I don't know. For themselves are non-existent. Marty was sure when those men were being lined up for a mass grave, for a future mass grave, they regretted surrendering, giving up their lives. So, not giving up their lives, giving up their lives without any fight. Let's see, these men were being lined up for a future mass grave, giving up their lives without any fight. I thought you, Jade, for the first time, Marty addressed the Jade outside. I thought you, Jade, love a good fight. Marty said that you would prefer a bloody battle. The Jade officer smirked at that, smirked proudly, as though Marty had complimented him in a way. We Jade are a warrior race, the Jade officer noted, and his voice was proudly. But we also But we understand that other lesser races are not warriors by nature. So we offer them, these less warlike peoples, the chance to surrender quickly. So throw down your weapons and come to us. We will not surrender, Marty said, frankly. Marty then got away from the windows. Marty looked to his various loots with him. He had a feeling it was a loot who betrayed him. He was certain it wasn't Tubber who knew of the explosives. There were two who didn't know about the explosives. Feeling it was a loot who betrayed him. Not one of the grunts of his organization. There are two loots who didn't know about the explosives. One was Truman Newbeck. The other was Violet Sandy left floor. The only gal in the whole group, at least stranded at this facility, at the HQ at the moment. Sandy was Sellian by nature, or Sellian by birth, born in 0020, that year that spawned more than a few famous superhumans, including Dominique Vert, now Richington. And Dominique Vert. It's about, no, Wilhelmina, the other famous. Nah, I don't think I need to mention Wilhelmina. Let's see. Sandy came to was pretty, with short reddish brown hair and big darker brown eyes. Her skin was kind of tannish these days, but had once been nearly milk pale, and particularly back in her days as a violinist. She been a violinist in Gracis back for the Battle of Selgoria. I saw Selgoria defeated by the Bloodkin army of Stefan Gazer. Gazer or Gazer? I keep getting that mixed up. Another thing that you gotta worry about, folks, is having the names of characters be too similar. I have a character named Demik, spelled D-E-M-I-K, and he's in the same part of a story as a guy named Mick, just without the D-E. It's kind of got a little prefix to it too. I can't remember the prefix, so it's kind of like Vaughn. When you hear a guy's got a name Vaughn something or other. Let's see. Sandy fled to Chromia and ended up... Sandy had to flee Gracis. Not because the Bloodkins didn't like her violining. Oh, that's not a word? Hard to believe. Violating. Violin playing. Yeah. Okay, folks, that's enough. Gotta sign off here. See you later.